Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to your 79th Android tutorial for the new Boston. What we're going to do in this tutorial is basically work with the SoundPool class, because I talked about this quite a few tutorials ago, because again we've used Media Player, which is for the longer sounds, but when we use explosion sounds, gunshots, short audio clips, we want to use the SoundPool class. I'll kind of talk about how that's beneficial and why we do that in this tutorial as well, or maybe the next one. I'm not for sure how long this is going to take. Shouldn't take too long here, but just set up a new class called Sound Stuff and get it going within your menu class, within that array, and also within your manifest. Extends activity on create, nothing new here, and then we're just going to create a new view, and we're just going to call this V for our view, and we're going to say new view, and we're going to pass in the context for this, and that's just going to create a new view for us. And now what we're going to say is just something like, gather my thoughts here, v.onClickListener, because we're going to have basically whenever they touch the screen, we could say on, touch listener as well, but we're going to do onClickListener, and then we're just going to say this, and then we're going to let this activity implement the onClickListener so we can use the method there. And so then all we have to do is add the implement methods, and we have our onClick method. Again, nothing new. And we're just going to say set content view for this view that we just set up here. It's just going to take up the whole screen, and it has a click listener attached to it. So we're going to say view. And there we go. We have our activity set up. Now let's set up our actual SoundPool class. So what we're going to say, we're going to go above this method here for our SoundPool, and we're just going to say SoundPool, and we're going to call the SoundPool object SP, and then just import our SoundPool, and we're going to set up this SP to be equal to new SoundPool object, and within the constructor or within these parameters to send back, we're going to say 5. Basically this first parameter, well, I'll show you after we type it out. And then for the second parameter, we're going to say audio manager dot stream music, and that'll just be the way that we're going to stream the music. And then we're just going to hit 0 for the third parameter. And there we go. We have our SoundPool object set up. Now basically, if I hover over here, you can see it takes in the 3 parameters. Max stream, that's going to say how many we're going to allow, how many sounds we're going to allow at the same time to be able to be playing. So we're going to allow up to 5 explosions. And this clip is probably I don't know, half a second, third of a second, I don't know. It's really short. So if there's 5 explosions, that's probably quite a bit. But this just kind of handles, we don't want to have billions of sounds going all at once. It kind of handles how many streams you can have. So we're going to allow 5. And the next type is the way that we want to stream the audio, and just the normal audio manager for this example for game applications will normally use stream music. So that's what we're going to use. And the third parameter, it's the sample rate. Basically right now it doesn't have any effect, so set 0 to default. That third parameter means nothing right now, because Android developers haven't really set that up yet in the SDK. The next thing we want to do is we want to actually access the sound from a resource, which is our explosion.ogg. So let's get that set up. So we're going to say our explosion, and this is going to be an int. Okay, so let's set this up here. We're going to say int explosion. And there we go. Now we're going to define it down here. Is that how you spell explosion? I don't know. If I spelled that wrong, I'm sorry, but for some reason it looks wrong. And then we're just going to say explosion, then we're going to refer to our SoundPool object that we just created, sp dot, and we're going to say load. And there's a few different ways to load. If you guys save the sound within your assets folder, you can use this assets file descriptor, and set the priority, or if you have a string path, you can use that as well. And since we're loading from the resource folder, we're going to use the ID, we're going to use this third load which takes context, the ID, and the priority. And the priority basically has no effect as well, and it says use the value of 1. Use a value of 1 for future capability. So we're just going to click that there. For the context, we're going to say this. The ID, we're going to say r.raw.explosion. And for priority, again, it told us to say 1 for future capability, or and for the third one, we're just going to say 1. So there we go. We have that explosion now set up. Now all we have to do is we have to just basically play our explosion. So we're going to say anytime our view is clicked, we're going to use this onClick method to play our explosion. So we're just going to say explosion, and then we're going to say dot play. Why isn't it loading here? Okay, we're going to say actually our SoundPool now down here. So we're going to say our SoundPool dot and now play. And as you can see, it takes an int, which is basically that explosion that we set up, a left volume, a right volume, a priority, which is, 0 is the lowest priority, loop, 0 equals it's not going to loop, and -1 says it's going to loop that sound forever, which we don't want. And then also the rate of playback. 1 is normal, but you can also go down to 0.5 or 2 if you want to change the rate that it plays back. So we're just going to click this method. For the sound ID, we're going to say explosion. Right volume, we're going to say 1, which is going to be the highest, and the left volume 1 and the right volume 1. The priority we're going to set to 0. The loop we want to set to 0 because we don't want it to loop forever, and the rate we're going to set to 1 because we want it to play back normally. And there we go. We're pretty much done. The only other thing that we can do, or that we might want to do, is basically this might take a little bit to load, and if we click before this explosion int is loaded, it might give us an error. So we're just going to quickly just say int is going to equal 0, something like that to start out with, and then once it sets this SoundPool load up, it'll change it from 0, and then that's just a way we can do error checking. So we're just going to say if explosion does not equal 0, we're going to play. Otherwise, it won't play that. So there we go. Let's just test it out, make sure everything works. Alright, so let's click on it, and I'll turn up my volume. Alright, it's already up. And then we just, every time we click the screen, up to 5 at a time. So there we go, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next tutorial. Have a good one.